Welcome to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with high-minded individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester, New York. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Today, on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, we're getting into conversation about basically changing your life one step at a time. Doing that work brick by brick. Right up next on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. After these breaks. What up? Welcome to my corner of the universe. If you want to sit there and advertise for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze and have your products or services be placed here, let us handle it for you. So doesn't matter if you're a small business, you're a big business, you got products, artworks, whatever it is, let SBC handle your workload, okay? Let us handle your workload. So go ahead and email us at sonyblazecorner.com and we'll get that to you as soon as you can. Peace. Back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with high-minded individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester, New York. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Welcome. So, anyways, how's everybody's doing? So before we get into the recap of last week's episode, if we do recap, I just want to go ahead and just let y'all know exactly what's about to happen real soon in the future of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. So as we continue on with Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, as well as Deep Bites with Sony Blaze, those two are pretty much well established. I pretty much got the flow of those two, and Deep Talk will always going to be on Wednesday, and Deep Bites will always be on Mondays and Fridays. But now I got something that I'm about to bring up Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's something that I have tried before, but failed. But we're gonna put it back up again, or I won't say put it back up again. Yeah, I should actually already seen it already this past Tuesday. But if not, then you're going to see it on next Tuesday or this upcoming Thursday or next Thursday. Y'all will see it soon. But we're bringing back Let's Talk About It. Now, Let's Talk About It is more not in your face and whatsoever. It's still going to be somewhat of a podcast, but it's going to be more geared towards of the most popular things that's been going on with Deep Talk, and it's more loose with the subjects that I will be speaking of, a little bit loose. So most likely I'm still going to have the basic format, but at least I could be able to speak about different subjects that seems to actually pops up that I want to actually speak upon. Maybe it's going to be current events, maybe video games. I mean, even though I will be talking about these stuff within Deep Talk and whatsoever, but Let's Talk About It. It won't be so tied into Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, if y'all understand that. It won't be so tied into Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. There will be I will be talking about some subjects that was discussed on there, but it won't be so tied to it. But anyways, we get back to that a little bit more later on, but let's go to a recap of what happened last week on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Now, last week on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, we was talking about, is it good being a content creator? Is it a real good idea to be a content creator? And when it comes down to it, is being a content creator is good? Yes, it is good. The reason why is because once you become a successful content creator, you'll be able to actually, sit back, relax, and enjoy the success that you build within yourself. And also, if you are successful, and what I mean by this part of the success is actually with the finances and stuff, you get to roll in the dough. Now, is being a content creator is bad? Yes. Yeah, there is no definite answer when it comes to this. And the reason why it's bad because you working for yourself. There is, especially in the beginning, there is really no team, no bosses to tell you what to do, how to do it, or telling you if you're doing it right. And mainly, technically, you do have bosses and whatsoever. And those are the audience. And since they have direct access to you, their words will hit a lot harder. And plus, you have to figure out everything on your own. So when it comes down to it, yes, content creation is bad. Now, is content creation is a good career path? Yes and no. The simple fact that you can be able to actually start your own business as a content creator, and then if that's not like something that you want to go deep into, you can venture out. But then the simple fact that you doing it for yourself and on your own, that's why it's bad, because when you make a mistake, you don't have the umbrella of the company that you work for to back you up. It is what it is. Now, the trouble of being a content creator is, one, you got to put in that work. You got to be consistent. And like, I'm gonna say, like me, I was having a little bit of struggle trying to actually record this video earlier, but that's the thing. You have to sit there and you got to struggle, and you by yourself. You by yourself. You don't have this person or that person at your job to come help you out, that's their specialty and to do this, and their specialty to do that. You basically by yourself. You have to learn everything on your own. And the thing is, content creation is not for everybody. That's probably something that a lot of y'all do not want to hear. Maybe you're one of the individuals who's best not to be a content creator, not to be a content creator. And that's okay. Yes, I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but yeah, content creator is not for everybody. And if you have a hint of that, you may be one of the individuals who probably is best for them to actually get a regular 9-to-5 job. Well, it don't have to be a regular 9-to-5 job or something regular, but you have to sit there and realize maybe you actually making videos or some type of content for the internet is probably not for you. Now, the reason why I mainly do content creation, the reason why I'm out here in your face and doing all this, well, it's because I want money. And well, that I'm being serious with that one. Yes, that's one of the main reasons. And another one is because I do actually like being a content creator, and I love seeing myself actually just to express myself and see myself do those things. Because I remember the other day I was going through TikTok, and then a few of my videos popped up, and I sat there and looked at it. I was like, damn, that's me? Shit. I look good. And and plus, I want to see how I can further express myself when it comes to content creation. That's what I want to do. Yes. So, other than that, now, after you reset all those messages and whatsoever, let's go back to the subject about, content creation is not for everybody. And what you need to do is go ahead and do is you need to look down deep within yourself. And once you look down there, see if at that end of yourself, do you really truly want to be a content creator? Like, do you really want to actually go out and actually put in the time and effort to be a content creator? Yes, there's our very great successes and very great opportunities and achievements there to have on there, but is that really for you? And the last and not least, of this is when you first starting as a content creator, you're not getting paid. You is not getting paid. I don't care what anybody else. You're not going to get paid once you first doing this. I don't care like if you there was somebody who was you was a friend with, and I'm sitting there stuttering, that you was a friend with, and they say they put out a video and they instantly made money. Yeah, whatever. They're probably lying. And if they're not, then they're extremely lucky or they're just a super badass. But when you first starting on this journey of content creation, you're not just going to sit there and just make money right off the bat. No, it may take months. It may take years for you to get towards that point, especially if you don't know how to sit there and do upsells and whatsoever. And I'm still working on that myself. So anyways, that's about it for the recap of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the future of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Like I said, especially with the episode that just passed by, you got to choose to, it's either you choose to fall or evolve, and which I'm evolving. So, and I was sitting there looking through now I am looking through the analytics and stuff like that. But, looking at videos and how people say, you check out the analytics, what's your best video whatsoever. And let's talk about it. It allows me to, speak about, some topics that I want to actually speak on that's actually very popular and, you can say viral within YouTube. Even though I really don't like the word, the term, and the process of being viral. I mean, I'd rather sit there and just, get, a praise when it's meant there, but not just being viral. So anyways, if you just joining me for the first time, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you go ahead and hit the like button if you are enjoying this video so far. And also a message for TMMG store. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to wear this each and every day, And also, I need a blazer too. So if y'all, I'm telling you, I'm going to get in contact with y'all. So y'all help me out, get in contact with TMMG. But anyways, we'll be right back after these breaks on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Peace. Shop at TMMG, the premier Haitian fashion store for all Haitians by Haitians. What up, man? Sony Blaze here. I'd say, man, I like TMMG. You doing a great job. Make sure y'all go ahead and support them. Support them. Get yourself a dashiki shirt or whatever type of fashion sense that you want in there. Anyway, just tell them Sony Blaze sent you. Peace. Welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with high-minded individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester, New York. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Today, on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, we're talking about, and we get into the subject of you got to change your life brick by brick. Yes, that's what we're going to talk about, man. And yeah, I'll say this is very appropriate as well too, because as we speak, I am at that point of changing my life. I am changing my life brick by brick, and before we get, I should actually start saying this a lot more in front of my videos. First of all, I want to say a disclaimer: I am not a guru. I am not an expert. I am not a psychologist or anything of that point. Is a individual who's been working on himself and seen lots of videos, read a few books, and actually speak to friends and family members and random individuals who are psychologists that I'll learn something from them. So this is just from my experience and whatsoever. So especially with the videos back in the past as well too, same thing. I got to make sure I put out this disclaimer because I don't want somebody come up and be like, yo, man, Sony Blaze just told me this and blah, blah, blah. Nah, man. I wasn't telling you advice. I was just telling, but you know what I mean. So let's get straight to it. So anyways, I wanted to actually particularly do an episode on this because I remember And also rest in peace. Rest in peace. Your ancestor now. Nipsey Hussle and Nipsey and a few other people was talking about this as well too. A few others, but for some reason, especially as of recently, this quote really is starting to hit me even more and more and more. And the quote that I'm referring to, and most likely I'm going to say this wrong, but what he was talking about, he was like, when he was pretty much getting towards the point that he was at where he is now, he pretty much say, I didn't build a perfect wall, in one day. I didn't build like that perfect wall right then and there. What I have done was I took one brick and I lay it down perfectly, just perfectly as I can, one day at a time. And then one day, when I looked up, I had me a perfect wall. And that's the thing we should get at. You shouldn't worry about building a perfect wall. You shouldn't worry about building that perfect life right then and there. You shouldn't worry about trying to sit there and do all what you can to build that perfect moment, to build the succession and consistent amount of moments within your life. No. What you should do is, first of all, just don't even worry about that part. Don't even worry about that part. Just bring it down and worry about laying one brick down perfectly every day. That's what we should really focus on. And like how Nipsey Hussle said, I believe also Will Smith said the same thing as well too. It's about sitting there and doing that activity. Like, say for instance, if you're trying to be a content creator. So, like a brick. Let's say the brick is to sit there and post on a certain day, on a certain hour, every week for one entire year. That's like one brick right there. Just keep doing that. Doesn't matter what type of video that you actually put out, as long as you put that one video out on that one day, on that certain amount of time, every week. So that, let's say it's every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, you put out a video. Doesn't matter if you're sitting there looking at the camera for 1 hour or you sitting there flipping or playing a video game. As long as you put that one video for 1 hour, then once you get to that point that it's become second nature to you, then you work on that second brick. And that second brick, maybe you start to be consistent on what type of video that you want to actually put out. Maybe a type of video of you, saying some good affirmations. But y'all get the point. And the thing about that whole thing is, once you actually start to put down those bricks one by one, if you keep consistent, you will end up building that perfect wall. Once again, if you keep being consistent, you end up building that perfect wall. What I mean by that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all already know what I mean by that, but for those who's in the back who don't know what I'm talking about, what I mean by that is by you simply the fact that one, like you're putting out your first brick of posting every day right on time, then you being consistent on doing whatever, and the more you do that over and over again on the amount of time that you're doing it for, like each and every week, eventually you're going to create that episodes and of whatever you want to create so effortlessly. As soon as you wake up, bam, you just done it, and then bam, and then you have a whole category, a catalog of extraordinary content that you build up that took you no effort. And the reason why is because you sat there, you kept consistent on laying down that one brick or doing that one activity consistently every day, instead of worrying about building that perfect wall right then and there. That's what it takes. It takes that consistency and that work to actually do it. Now, I know that it's tough. I won't say it's tough. I won't say it's tough. I know it just gets a little. What's the best way to really say that? I know it gets a little frustrating, a little repetitive, kind of boring, doing the same thing over and over and over again. I understand that. It happens to me. It happens to the best of us. You think it had to happen to all those people who's up there, who's living the limelight? No, it happened to them too. But the key is you have to keep consistent. The key is you got to have discipline to go through it and be like, all right, put up your your britches up, your big boy pants, your big girl pants, and be like, all right, I'm gonna do it just like I did. I really didn't want to do it today, but I had to put it in there. I had to keep consistent, and that's what it is. You have to keep consistent, man. You got to keep it consistent, even though you don't want to do it. You got to keep it consistent, man. Keep consistent. Just like the little I'm not gonna say, but it's that little storybook that the little something that can do something. But anyways, that's about it for this segment of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. So if you just joined me for the first time, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Just go ahead and just give it that subscribe button a high five, and make sure you like this video. And we'll be right back after these breaks on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. What up, Sony Blaze here. Welcome to my corner of the universe. Just to let you know, I do other content in the internet, not just content in Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, but also I do broadcast live on Twitch every day for pretty much a good amount of time. So go ahead and join me on twitch.tv/Sony Blaze 333. Once again, it's twitch.tv/Sony Blaze 333, and it's going to be up in the link's going to be in the description, and the link's going to be somewhere here. Hello, and welcome to my corner of the universe. Welcome to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with high-mind individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester, New York. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. So today on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, we was getting into the conversation about you got to build your life brick by brick. Yes, very appropriate, isn't it? I just sit there and just decided just to record it without actually thinking about the topic that I was actually doing for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. But anyways, let's get straight to it though. Let's get straight to it. So the thing about it though, man, a lot of us, especially me, I tend to do this a lot of times. We tend to, when we go through moments, when we go through life, and when we actually begin to actually start to, and we're gonna sit there and start walking now. So go ahead and walk with me. I do want to actually start creating that series again, but take a walk with me though. But we tend to focus on the finished product. We focus on the perfect wall, on it like in its completionness, but fail to realize what we really need to truly focus on is what we have right in front of us. Like I said, I tend to do that a lot, and we tend to sit there also, as well as like look at other people's walls and see how amazing their walls is, and how, metaphorically speaking, obviously. What I'm saying is, like, when you're sitting there and working on your dreams, working on your aspiration, working on your goals, and we tend to sit there and just keep on focusing on the end goals and worrying about the perfect, ending, instead of worrying about what's going on right in front of us. Like, how's your camera is? Are you going to slip and fall on the ice? Or can people actually hear you? Like, let's say if you're doing content creation or something. But when it comes down to it though, what are you doing at that moment? Like, instead of worrying about, okay, are you be able to actually sit there and become this rich person? Worry about, are you going to sit there and be able to actually make something out of nothing? Or I'm not. I'm not sure exactly what or how you want to put it or how you want to think of it, but it is what it is, though, man. So we'll be right back very, very soon on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Hello, welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. So let's get back into it. So the thing is, you know, when we're building our lives and whatsoever, and as we're doing it, like always, we sit there and think about the perfect wall and whatsoever. Make sure, like, if we have this very perfect wall, life will actually be all right, and we got to do it within one day and whatsoever. That's far from the truth. Nah, that is far from the truth. See, the thing is, though, man, if once you're on this road and and building your life, it's fine to take the slow road. Straight up, it's fine to take the slow road. It's fine to actually pace yourself. That's been a very tough lesson for myself, like, because I don't pace myself at times, and sometimes I don't take the slow road. I tend to actually go jump into things, head first and whatsoever. And there's a lot of individuals out there who's the same way, who goes in head first, not really paying attention to interest, trying to actually hurry up and just get something done. And as I get older, as I make a lot of mistakes, because I'm going to make plenty of more mistakes, and as I learn from the mistakes and whatsoever, I tend to understand that it's much better to take your time. Take your time. Sit there, just lay every brick perfectly, one at a time, just at least once per day, just as perfectly as you can, and just do that every day consistently. And then eventually, that one day you build that beautiful wall. And yeah, trust me, I understand that you want to sit there and just get shit done right then and there, and want to actually get it over with. Shit, I'm the same way. I want to get, those big dreams, manifested right then and there, but it doesn't work like that. It takes work. It takes, it takes hard work. It takes, it takes time. Like the bamboo, I believe it's bamboo, or was it bonsai? But like one of those plants, it takes a very, very long time for that to actually really grow up to be really big, and you need to consistently take care of it without missing a day. Water it every day without missing a day, and not knowing if it's going to grow or not. And that's the thing. That's what you have to do once you're in that process. So remember, man, when it comes to whatever moment that you have or whatever job that you're doing, just first take it apart, and then just do every part perfectly as much as you can, every day. Just, just a little bit as you can, just perfectly as you can. It don't have to be much, just a little, until you be able to actually do it with just speed and without effort. So, all right, we're about to go ahead and make our way home. And oh yeah. Okay, now welcome back and to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. So now, as we're sitting there talking about this, as you can see, I'm not a stranger to actually put myself under the bus, because I ain't no perfect human being. I wish I was, but I ain't no perfect human being. And that's the thing. I am not no stranger trying to do everything at once. I am not a stranger to that. There's times that I sit there and took a bigger bite than I can actually chew on a project, people, places, things that I was very inexperienced or shouldn't have been over there to be around in the first place. And the thing is, it's gonna happen. I won't say more often or not, or none. I almost said some crazy shit like that, but it's gonna happen. Eventually, not eventually. See, I lost exactly how I was going to say it, and I do apologize for the sun, and now the sun's being blocked, but there's our times that I end up doing it, like I always say, like the beginning of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Yeah, I sat there and I took a big, I took a big bite,
I sat there. I try to keep up with the scheduling before I'm back at it again. Also, I try to sit there and edit the videos, and perfectly pay for studio cost, and then think of a subject each and every week, and then do it, live too. It wasn't a pre-record like I'm doing right now, and yeah, and I took a big, I took a big chew, I took a big bite, and yeah, I ended up choking. I ended up choking, and that's what happens. And I'm sorry for the darkness and whatsoever, and the sun. So and then I sat there and I paid for it. I paid for it, and I tried to handle things that I wasn't at the level yet. But I have to say, I am glad that I did it, because because then I can sit there and look back and it's like, damn, I came from that to this. So like I said, I'm not a stranger to actually taking everything at once, but as you can say right now, as of this moment, as we're speaking right now, this moment as we're speaking right now, I'm been better at actually taking it one step at a time and building my brick one brick at a time. That's why I'm doing this kind of challenge with myself. So far I'm doing, like, let's say, real quick, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 12 videos per day, I believe, but not in one platform though. Not in one platform. It's in different platforms. So the platforms I'm posting on is Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, YouTube again, and eventually I'm gonna start doing other platforms. So anyways, that's about it for this segment of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Also, if you're just joining me for the first time, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, and also subscribe buttons if you're not a follower. And we'll be right back after these break for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Peace. What up, what up? Welcome to my corner of the universe. If you want to sit there and advertise for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze and have your products or services be placed here, let us handle it for you. So doesn't matter if you're a small business, you're a big business, you got products, artworks, whatever it is, let SBC handle your workload, okay? Let us handle your workload. So go ahead and email us at sonyblazecorner.com, and we'll get that to you as soon as you can. Peace. Welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with high-minded individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester, New York. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. So I just got done finishing these segment 3, what we were speaking of. But let's get back to the last part of this podcast and whatsoever. So, anyways, let's go ahead and continue on. So, and I need to stop saying that. That's just like a habit that I have. So, anyways, let's get back to it. So, how do we start? By working on the smaller things first. Like, how do we start? Well, there's the answer within the question. It's by starting. It's by starting with the smaller stuff. For instance, let's say for instance. So okay, and I need to actually get back into it as well too. Let's say if you're a video game designer, you design video games and whatsoever, and let's say there's a game that you want to do. Now, obviously, you want to do this AAA game, like this amazing AAA game with amazing graphics, with amazing game mechanics and whatsoever. But you're just a person pretty much living in their dad's basement. and you don't know how to even get started on creating that video game of your dreams. So this is how you do once you get into it, like, and how you start small. First of all, what you can do, like a few options is, first of all, don't even worry about that huge game.
Let's just put that in the back burner and be like, all right, make that as a goal, like, you know, as a goal, like a reachable goal. Start with something simple. Start with a simple, very simple game, like maybe a simple game of you know, bouncing a ball or something, like something very small and something small scale. I pretty much had to learn that myself as well too. There's a lot of times that, because I also am a game developer, like I said, I want to get back into. A lot of time when I first get into it, I wanted to create these huge games, but then when I started, it's just too much. So then I learned that I had to start with something small. So that's what you do. You work on the small game. So, and instead of just try to finish that small game like right away so you can get towards the big thing, just work one step at a time. You just work on a little bit code one day, work on a little bit of art another day, work on bug fixing another day, and just start small each and every day. And to make it more consistent, pick a certain time of the day that you're going to get up and actually put in the work, in which I need to actually start doing that too. Man, I need to start doing that. And you know what? This is why I love Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. And I need to get back more into like the flow as a conversation. You know, we got to get loose with it, and we're getting better at it. We're getting better with it. And that's the thing, though, man. You just have to sit there and just cut the small game into little sections. You know, one little bit at a time, and just slowly work on it. And you're going to notice that idea is becoming something concrete. Now, while you're sitting there working on it, there is the killer of process. There is something that will kill your progress 100% all the time. All the time. If you don't be careful when it comes to there. And what I'm referring to is rushing. Rushing is the killer of progress. I know for a fact. I mean, I remember a lot of times, you know, my moms, you know, friends, family, and whatever. They'd be like, "Man, Stanley, stop rushing, man. You rushing too much." But then also there are times that it's not that I'm just rushing. I'm just like into something, and that's how I like, you know, get deep into something. Like, you know, I really just go pretty quickly because I'm very like, when I get deep into something and really know something, I start to get very quick with it. But to get back to the subject at hand, rushing will kill any process that you have, because once you sit there and begin to rush, you're going to start to make mistakes that you have never done before. You're going to start to do things that you never thought, well, you would end up doing, and you will cause more chaos to whatever project, work, or anything that you're doing. Because once you begin that process of rushing, you don't really see yourself at all. You don't really see what's in front of you. You don't see your work. All you worrying about is getting towards the end goal. Just think about this. We're going back towards the game development. So when we sit there, we start on, you know, making the game. Maybe, and I'm saying this from experience now too. Let's say you go in and you start to put some work on the game. Now the game itself is actually playable. It's playable. You actually can go in and just start to play it whatsoever. So now you got that part done, and pretty much half the battle is over with. But then you start to actually put in the levels and other mechanics and stuff like that within the game. But then you start to notice the process seems slow. There's nothing going on, and there seem to be no change in whatsoever. And that's when you start to panic. And then once you start to panic, you begin to start rushing. And once you start to rushing, you forget process that you learned when you was building it from the ground up. Then also you start to making these huge mistakes, and then all these bugs and glitches happens in the games happens when you sit there and run, and then you're going to have to go back, fix it, and then make more of a bigger problem within yourself. And then after that, once you get all those problems fixed and get it decent again, then you're burned out. You burned out, and then you end up quitting. And then you drop the game off, never to be seen again. And that's how rushing will kill progress. So whenever you're doing something, take your time. Just take your time, take your time, take your time. But anyways, in closing, today we're just we having a conversation about you have to change your life brick by brick, moment by moment, actions by actions, activities by activities, this work by that work, just, one step at a time. And the thing is, we shouldn't worry about trying to build that perfect wall right then and there and one day. Don't worry about building that perfect. No, I mean, not at least 90% of us can't do that. I mean, or I should say even 99% of us can't really build a perfect wall in one day. No, but what you can do and what you can worry about is laying one big down perfectly every day. What I mean is, you can sit there and do one activity perfectly one day at a time, or just write something one day, just one step at a time. Just do something one moment at a time instead of trying to do everything at once. And if you keep consistent on doing that every day, eventually you will build that perfect wall without no problem, without no upsets. Or I know I said that wrong, but let's continue on. And also, we tend to always focus on the endpoint and instead of what's working in front of us. And a lot of times when we do that, we start to mess up on a lot of things. So once you're working on whatever that you're working on, is content creation, video game or whatever, music writing, don't worry about the finished product. Worry about what's going on right in front of you, right then, right there. Because the future haven't happened yet, and the past is the past. It's already gone. And it's fine if it takes you a lot longer as well too. It's fine, okay? It's fine that you taking a slower pace for yourself, because you need to actually work on your pace. So do not worry about this person is be able to actually do something so amazing already and have this person, that person, and doing all the things. Don't worry about that. Just work on your pace. Just work on your pace. And the thing is, I am not a stranger at all for trying to do everything at once or try to sit there and build that perfect wall in one day. I'm not a stranger to that. There are plenty of times. I mean, a perfect example is, Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. There was a time that I tried to do everything perfectly all at once, and I'd never really done it before. And guess what? I crashed and burned, but not luckily. But I was blessed to be able to actually do Deep Talk with Sony Blaze again right around June and whatsoever. So I'm here. I'm back on it, and going down with like a champ. And how you start off with getting into doing the smaller things is to actually start to do the smaller things. Do those first. Instead of working on those big, huge, miraculous projects, start on the little things first, because you will get there. You eventually get there. And also, one last thing, rushing kills progress. When you find yourself you're about to start rushing, or you are rushing, slow down. I remember old school told me, man, you have to slow down. And that's the thing, you have to slow down. Because I'm telling you, rushing into things will kill any progress that you will have. But anyways, thank you for joining my corner of the universe. So I want to know, what is the wall that you're building? What is the wall that you're trying to build? Are you trying to be a content creator? Are you trying to be a video game developer? Are you trying to be a singer? Are you trying to be a streamer? Let me know down in the comments what is your wall that you're trying to build as we speak right now. But anyways, thank you for joining me in my corner universe.